All right, hi friends, back with another one. This is the little duck, and I like to read the little duck as we're getting ready for spring. Right now we're getting very close to spring, but we're not there yet. Before we get started, I do want to show you a couple of pages on the book. The cover just shows a little baby duck. Duckling? Duckling? Yeah, duckling, right? And then as we look at some of the pages, here's this boy. I don't know if you can see, he's got a fishing pole there. And, well, I don't want to give everything away, but here we have, there's the little duck again. There's a picture of the duck when he gets a little older. Take a look at that page. So before we get started, I just wanted to ask you, does this duck live near Queens Boulevard? I know he doesn't. This duck is going to grow up on a farm, not in the city, not a lot of buildings around, a lot of wide open spaces. So here we go, little duck. I think you'll like it. One morning in early spring, a little boy was fishing in the pond near his farm. Again and again he threw out his line and pulled it in, and at last he caught a fish. The boy gathered his things to go home. Suddenly, he saw something nestled in the tall grass at the pond's edge. It was an egg, a duck's egg, and the little boy carried the egg home with him. He placed the egg in here. This is an incubator. He placed the egg in an incubator, which is something they have on farms sometimes, to keep the egg warm. And every day, the boy turned the egg over as gently as a mother duck would turn the egg. Mother ducks do that every day. They turn their eggs. Finally, after 28 days of waiting and watching, the boy heard something peeping and pecking inside the shell. The shell cracked and broke open, and Henry, the little duck, was hatched. He doesn't look the same there as he does in this picture, does he? He looks kind of wet. Henry did not look at all as the boy thought he should. His feathers were wet and they stuck to his body, and his feet were enormous. Do you know what enormous means? Well, look, his feet are so big. The little duck stood up on his big, enormous orange feet, and he tried a few small steps. Then he stretched his spindly wings and wiggled them as fast as he could. And when he did this, that helped him to begin to get dry and fluffy when he moved his wings around. But getting hatched is hard work, and Henry was so tired. He put his head down beside his empty shell and went to sleep. When Henry woke up, his fluffy yellow down was completely dry, and now he looked like a duck. The down is the baby feathers. After a few days, the boy placed Henry in a wading pool. It was time for the little duck's first swim. Henry tried hard to paddle, but the more he paddled, the deeper he sank. See, ducks cannot float without oil on their feathers. Baby ducks usually get this oil from their mother's feathers when she sits in the nest with them. But Henry, he didn't have his mother with him. Henry was hatched in an incubator. so he would have to wait until he was older and his own oil glands began to work before he tried to swim again. He's just not ready yet. The boy quickly scooped Henry up from the bottom of the pool and wrapped him in a towel. Henry was shivering and sputtering. The boy was afraid he would catch a cold, so he set a hairdryer on warm and dried Henry's feathers in no time. When the little duck was dry again, he found a cozy resting place on the broad back of the family dog, and together they dozed in the sunshine. They make a nice pair, don't they? The two of them make a nice pair. Throughout the summer, oh wait, hold on, it's not spring anymore? This was spring when this started, wasn't it? One morning in early spring, but now it says through the summer. Through the summer, Henry kept growing. The boy fed him cracked corn and duck mash. The more Henry ate, the bigger he grew. One day, as Henry was standing beside a puddle, his reflection showed stiff white feathers growing over his down. And then, suddenly, Henry's voice began to do something new. When he was small, peep, peep was all he said. But now strange noises came out when he opened his beak. Peep, peep, squank, peep, quack, peep, quack, quack, quack. Henry was growing up. During the summer, Henry followed the boy all around the farm. Sometimes the boy was busy. Then Henry looked for other friends. One day he waddled down the hill and into the barnyard. He quacked at the hen. Quacked at the hen, but the hen didn't care about ducks. He quacked at the rabbit. The rabbit listened but didn't say anything back. And when Henry quacked at the goat leaned over and head-butted him. Finally, Henry went back home. Summer turned into autumn. Well, here we go again. So it started out in the spring, and then it was summer, and then summer turned into autumn. What's another name for autumn? The fall. Summer turned into autumn, and the boy had to go to school. Without anyone to play with, Henry had nothing to do all day. He tried to swim in his blue plastic pool, but now the pool had become too small for Henry. Look at him. There's just not that much space in there. On weekends, the boy stayed home. Then Henry was happy. He had a playmate. And sometimes on warm winter days, that went by quickly. Now it's winter. On warm winter days, when the boy was away, his grandfather would rock Henry on the porch. But still Henry seemed lonely. He needed a special friend. The little duck was almost all grown up. One bright morning in early spring, so it started in the spring, and then it went to the summer, and then it went to autumn, and then it went to winter. We didn't see much of winter. We only saw a day in winter where it was a little warm outside. But now it says it's early spring again. That's a whole year went by. One bright morning in early spring, Henry waddled off the porch. He was a handsome grown-up duck now, with a beautiful curled feather at the tip of his tail. You can see it here. It kind of curls up a little bit. Henry walked straight down the hill, past the barnyard, and across the meadow. Suddenly, Henry stopped. He opened his beak in a loud quack. Before him was a wide, deep pool of water, much wider and deeper than his blue plastic pool at home. Henry had found the pond. You remember the pond, don't you? We first saw the pond when the boy was fishing and catching his fish. So Henry found the pond, and in the middle of the pond, spreading its wings, was a different duck. There's a whole other duck. It was the first other duck that Henry had ever seen. As fast as he could, Henry paddled out to meet the new duck. It looked almost exactly like Henry, but it did not have that same special curl at the tip of its tail. Take a look. I wonder why one duck, Henry, has a curl on his tail and the other duck has no curl on the tail. Oh, it says it right here. The other duck, was a girl duck, and she quacked at Henry, and Henry had found his special friend at last. And soon, Henry and his friend had an egg of their own nestled in the tall grass beside the pond. What do you say at the end of a story? The end. Is it the end? Because you know, there's more story. I wonder if that egg hatches, is it going to be a girl duck or a boy duck? I don't know. I'm so curious. Alrighty. Thanks for listening.